Stewart's law: you shrink to fit the environment that you tolerate. Your surroundings actually don't just influence you, as it turns out, they actually shape you in a way that you might not necessarily realize. Context is everything. I got to thinking about this in the context originally of Parkinson's law, which basically says work expands to fill the available time for its completion. It's a project management adage that basically says that when you put time constraints on something, it can actually enforce when it gets done. So if you want to get it done sooner, make the deadline sooner, basically. On Maxwell's irrefutable law of leadership, the law of the lid, that says that a leader's capacity never can exceed that leader's ability, right? But when we think about this from a standpoint of what we choose to accept in our own life, especially when we think about work, family, friends, there are three things that really make this up. First of all, is mental capacity. So it speaks to mental capacity in the sense that your cognitive bandwidth is limited by what's around you. The other is personal growth. You either expand or contract based on what you accept, right? So there's a level of choice in that. And finally, the concept of tolerating something implies choice. It means that you have a choice in the matter most times. You have a choice in the matter. So when I say you shrink to fit the environment that you tolerate, I believe it to be true that you have agency over the choices that you make that can influence how you feel and how you present and how you grow. That's important, growth. So when we think about this from a standpoint of how we apply this, I believe that it helps me frame a more constructive and creative way to work through obstacles that I find in my day-to-day life, whether my calendar's too busy, whether I've got too many emails, whether I've got too many meetings stacked up, is a choice. I talk about this and Burn That Project Down, but interestingly enough, I often forget in the fray. I forget in the midst of the day-to-day. And so I think it's important to coin this adage, which is that you shrink to fit the environment that you tolerate, in a constructive manner, to remind myself that it is in fact important to have choice, exercise choice, and really appreciate the fact that it is a choice. Don't let your environment become so consuming that it strips that away from you. So that's the thought for the day. Stewart's Law: you shrink to fit the environment that you tolerate. Hope that helps. Stay salty.